Right, it is conference championship week. That means it is the last week before the actual playoffs are decided. I mean, everything is just a wreck. It's a mess. There's no consistency in between how teams are picked. There's no consistency between last year. There's no real criteria that they have made. I mean, these are just guys that are on a whim. I mean, here's the rankings right here. I really don't have a problem with 1 through 9, really. I think they got those pretty correct just in terms of a resume standard. And then we just throw away the whole resume first out the window when it gets down to 10. So we have Notre Dame at 10, BYU at 11, Miami at 12, and Texas at 13. Vanderbilt's at 14, also a great team. They should have made it. That's just another question about the playoffs. 14 teams. I mean, 12 teams, they're going to expand it to 14. They would have been in that expanded playoff. The real only pick is up to 10 because there's going to be the two conference champions who are outside of that buffer. So we're not going to see whoever's 11 or 12 even make it into the playoff. As of right now, it's going to be Notre Dame, but there's still some questions on what's going to happen. You know, BYU wins. That's going to have Texas Tech and BYU make the playoff. That would be Notre Dame as first team out. Um, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So I want to get into my rankings real quick. This is what I think they should have. This is, resume based. This is what I think it would be. So you don't see anything change between 1 and 9. Not much you can really say between those teams. 1 and 4 is really who I really think is the championship bubble. We could see any of these teams surprise and upset. They're all great, phenomenal teams, but those four are really the ones that I think are really competing for this national championship. But we get down to 10, and you see I swapped Notre Dame. I have Texas at 10, Miami at 11, Notre Dame at 12, and BYU at 13. So I'm going to start with BYU. We'll start at the bottom. Okay. So BYU 13, 11 and 1. They haven't played much of a schedule. They got their brakes blown off by Texas Tech, the only real team that they played so far this year. And really my decision between that is just they're going to play to get in. We'll see how they fare in their conference championship. If anything, that's another game that they have. They would be 11 and 2. They would have a similar resume towards Miami, Notre Dame. Obviously not the quality of wins that they have as Alabama and Oklahoma, but they would both have 2 losses, similar kind of schedules, and then if they play Texas Tech tough, that's an argument to even bump them up ahead. They don't even have to win in my eyes to be able to move up from 13. Then we have Notre Dame at 12. Notre Dame is at 10 in the current playoff rankings. I mean, I just can't believe that they have them over Miami. They played head to head. They both had similar schedules. No one really played anybody. I mean, Notre Dame had 2 good losses, but no good wins. Miami had 2 bad losses, but a couple good wins. I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, they had the head-to-head in any other professional sports league. Head-to-head is the number one tiebreaker. And I'm saying professional because these players are played. They're paid now, so they are essentially semi-professional. They should be held to this standard that is kind of gone around all of professional sports. Is head-to-head is the number one tiebreaker. You tie and everything else. Notre Dame's not even in a conference. Can't even say conference record or anything like that. But 10 and 2, same record, same pretty poor schedule. They're right there neck and neck in terms of strength of schedule. And you have Notre Dame over Miami. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? Head-to-head, same thing. Anyway, Texas at 10. That one, Miami is everyone. Miami's the ones getting left out. They should be the ones in. Notre Dame over Miami and everything else. I don't think Miami or Notre Dame should be in. I mean, neither one of them really have a really high caliber win. And we have Texas, who has wins over Oklahoma and Texas A&M. And then Vanderbilt, who's not on the screen, but at 14, they have wins over those 3 teams. So obviously they can compete with this layer of competition. They can go out there. They can beat these teams. They can make a surprise. They can make a deeper run into the college football playoff. So to have them below these schools that haven't really played anybody, it's just crazy. So I'll get into the Texas schedule. So right here, SEC play, they're going to have those UTEP games, Sam Houston. I mean, you're going to play those softer games, but SEC schedule, SEC is super deep. I mean, even the 4-8 Florida Gators were able to give Texas a problem. I mean, SEC in Gainesville, they say it means more for a reason. But let's say they don't play Ohio State week one. They play another cupcake team. They play even a okay team. They play Wisconsin, for example. 10-2 with that kind of record, beating Vanderbilt, A&M, and Oklahoma, they're in the playoff. There's no question. So to leave them out of the playoff is just incentivizing having a worse schedule. I mean, if you're going to say that they're 10-2 as well as Miami and Notre Dame, and you're going to have Miami and Notre Dame that are ahead of them, even though they don't have near the quality of wins, Miami has worse losses than Texas does, and Texas is 9-3. So I mean, Texas deserves that 10th spot. They've already showed that they compete. They can beat these caliber of teams. They're capable of making that deep run. Obviously, all of these teams that are on the bubble have their problems. None of these are really championship contending teams, but it goes to make an interesting playoff. You know that they can compete. You know that they can go out there and win a first round, possibly win a second round. Make it interesting. We're here for TV, we're here for sports, we're here for all of it. We want to have an entertaining game. So that's Texas. They have the eighth strength of schedule in the entire college football. I mean, to have the eighth highest on anyone in the bubble that I showed, up to 13, highest of anyone by a wide margin. I mean, they have played a grueling schedule and they've managed to come through with a 9-3 record. You can't really fault them for losing to Ohio State. The Florida game, there's a fluke every once in a while. It happens. One fluke, you get it. Lose to the good teams. I think that they should be in. They've had some great wins. So I would put them ahead of Miami and Notre Dame for that reason. So here we get into the Miami schedule. And obviously you have that win over Notre Dame. First game of the season, though. That is a long time ago. Okay, I get it. Week one, but it is still this year. We still have that head-to-head matchup. Obviously, losing to Louisville and losing to SMU, terrible losses. SMU, they're a higher caliber of the mediocre teams, but overall, they're still mediocre. That's a game that you got to win. And then they go out on this 4-game winning streak, not against any great teams, but really just making dominant statements to try and get into the college football playoff, especially on Pittsburgh running up the score. Pittsburgh's still one of those somewhat respectable teams. They're just outside of that top 25 bubble. So, I mean, Miami does have a strong case. They have the head-to-head over Notre Dame, and they have these quality wins. Not to mention they did blow out Florida, who Texas did lose to. Now, Texas was, of course, in Gainesville. It gets difficult there, but that's just SEC football, college football. I mean, atmosphere plays so much more of a part than NFL. You just have to respect that. And so that's the case for Miami. And then we get down to Notre Dame's schedule. And Notre Dame, I mean, we're looking at cupcakes. You have USC. Pittsburgh's another comparable team that Miami played, if you want to compare them, but Miami beat the brakes off of Pittsburgh. You point to the Syracuse, you're like, wow, 77. Syracuse is terrible. Miami still blew them out. They didn't blow them out as bad, but they still blew them out. And not to mention, you have the two first losses of the season to Miami and to Texas A&M, who myself, I'm not so sure about how quality they are, even though they have that 11-1 record. So, I mean, you're just looking at not a strong schedule, kind of nitpicking. I mean, is this the kind of schedule that we want to incentivize for teams to make the playoffs? We don't want them to play in Ohio State. We don't want those high caliber, huge regular season games that are going to bring in great ratings and everyone loves the games and is super entertained. I mean, this is what this is incentivizing. This is what the college football playoff has done with their selection, having Notre Dame at 10 and just snubbing Texas completely, even though they played Ohio State. Don't play that game. 10-2, clearly a better resume than Notre Dame and Miami. You'd have to put them above them. So I just can't really see them getting punished too hard for that Ohio State loss. So for me, I would have Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, Oregon 5, Ole Miss 6, A&M 7, Oklahoma 8, Alabama 9, 10 would be Texas. 11 would be Miami, 12 would be Notre Dame, and then 13 for BYU. Now, I do want to say what the playoff committee has done, and I see what they're going at for why they've done it. So if you look at the eye test, okay, Notre Dame is, I would say, they're the clear best of those four teams. Just eye test, watching the game. They have a game that travels well. It's one of those that it's kind of hard to get loose. Like if you have a quarterback who's playing a bad game and that is your offense, you're done. That's the game. But Notre Dame has multiple ways to win. Great defense, great running back, Jeremiah Love, arguably Heisman, um, and just keeping it rolling. So I understand what they did with that, but to just completely ignore the standard and criteria that you set for the top 9, to have that resume based, they're clearly ranked by who beat who, their quality of wins and such like that, and then you're going to have Notre Dame at 10. It just makes no sense. So, I mean, the committee, they got to get it together. This is messy. This is ugly. College football playoffs got to get it together. There's been some floating, the whole 4-4-2-2 conference, to where you get 4 SEC bids, 4 Big Ten bids, 2 Big 12 and 2 ACC, and then Group of 5. I think they had 2 for Group of 5 as well. So I mean, I think that would be the new playoff format going on. What's going to happen with conference champions? I mean, you have Virginia, if they lose to Duke, we'll have 2 Group of 5 teams making the playoffs. I mean, you're going to tell me that North Texas or JMU belongs in there over Vanderbilt or over Miami, over Texas, over Notre Dame, any of these teams that potentially don't make. It's just crazy. So I want to see the highest caliber of football played. I want to see the best teams playing each other. I want to see the most competitive games possible. And you're just not going to get that with the current playoff format. So I am hoping that they do change it next year, go for that 4-4-2-2, whatever they come up with. That would still give conferences a bit of weight, because the way that things are going, I mean, conference champions, I can't see them really mattering. I mean, they're basically people who aren't playing. Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma, they're all getting buys before the first week of the playoff even starts. I mean, you're talking about having to play an extra game, being a higher seed, and it potentially even hurting you if you get blown out or if you lose. I mean, conference championships are losing a lot of that weight. So hopefully, whatever format that they go with, it probably won't be the permanent one. They're probably still going to be tweaking this and there. But yeah, I mean, committee completely fumbled this one. They deserve to get mad. Miami fans deserve to be mad at them. Texas fans deserve to be mad at them. Hell, Vanderbilt fans deserve to be mad just because of the way the format is formatted. So just terrible, terrible. Hope they can improve it well. Hopefully we have a new format that's not going to lead to this kind of BS. I mean, man, I really do think Texas should be 10. You don't hear a lot about Texas. You hear about Miami. But Texas, man, 3 great wins. Can't really fault them for playing Ohio State. 10-2 with that kind of record, with that kind of season, they're absolutely in the playoffs. So, committee, don't incentivize bad schedules. Don't incentivize a Notre Dame schedule. If anything, make them go in a conference, especially if they do the whole 4-4-2-2 format. Put Notre Dame in a conference. It's about time they make up their mind, quit flirting with this and that. Make up your mind, join a conference, make the playoff fair. Let's get it done, okay? This was the worst year by far for the last selection. Most actually, ever since the 14 playoff when we had Florida State get snubbed for going undefeated, their quarterback got hurt. That was a pure eye test thing, once again. Pure eye test. Now, obviously, Georgia deserved to make it that year. They were great. But, I mean, it's just another one of those arbitrary, no real defined criteria. Why is it resume based, and then why is it not at the bottom? Are we picking favorites? What are we doing here? So, yep, hopefully college gets it together. And if you have stayed this long, shout out to you. Give me a subscribe. I appreciate it. Out.